Hi, welcome to Pendulum Theories. I'm your new host for today, and depending on how well you engage with our videos, I might find myself in a permanent position here. Without much further ado, let's dive into today's topic. What if the first nuclear explosion did not happen in New Mexico in 1945? What if it happened earlier in Europe under Nazi Germany? No photographs, no official documents, only witnesses, secret programs, vanished scientists, and a war ending faster than anyone would have ever imagined. Today we are asking a question that historians debate quietly. Did Nazi Germany build and test a nuclear weapon quietly before the United States? Official history tells us this. The United States developed the first atomic bomb through the Manhattan Project. Germany failed due to lack of resources, coordination, and time. German nuclear research supposedly stalled under Werner Heisenberg. But here's the problem. After the war, the Allies behaved nothing like victors who believed that Germany failed. They scrambled, they raced, they silenced eyewitnesses. Today, we are looking at the shadows of World War II. We are exploring the accounts of pilots and journalists, the secret of a captured U-boat, and how the losers of the atomic race might have actually provided the fuel for its ending. October 1944. A German pilot named Hans Ginzer is flying a reconnaissance mission over the Baltic Sea. Suddenly, the sky isn't dark anymore. A blinding flash erupts, followed by a shockwave that rattles his aircraft. Below him, a massive mushroom cloud rises, crackling with what he describes as blue-violet sparkles. At the same time, his radio goes dead, and his instruments fluctuate wildly. Ginzer did not know it yet, but he may have just witnessed the impossible, a successful Nazi nuclear test, months before the Americans at Los Alamos. Ginzer wasn't the only one. Enter Luigi Romersa, an Italian war correspondent sent by Mussolini to verify Hitler's claims of a miracle weapon. In October 1944, Romersa was taken to the island of Rügen. He was put in a bunker with thick glass and told to wait. He described a tremor, a blinding light, and a cloud that looked like a giant flower. Hours later, he was dressed in a protective suit, likely asbestos, and driven to the blast site. He saw trees charred to carbon and animals burned to cinders. For years, Romersa was called a madman. But his description of the blast and the subsequent radiation protocol aligns eerily with nuclear testing. While mainstream history says Heisenberg and the uranium club failed, these accounts suggest a parallel secret program, perhaps under the SS, which was Hitler's paramilitary force, that was far more advanced than we have been told. In May 1945, weeks after Germany surrendered, a massive German submarine, the U-234, surfaced in the Atlantic and surrendered to the US Navy. But this wasn't just any sub. It was a giant underwater freighter bound for Japan. On board, the Americans found two dismantled Me-262 jet fighters, high-ranking scientists, and 560 kilograms of uranium oxide. Some reports suggest the containers were lead-lined and even gold-lined, marked with U-235, the fissile isotope needed for a bomb. Here is where it gets controversial. At the time, the Manhattan Project was struggling to produce enough enriched uranium for the little boy bomb. Some historians argue that the uranium captured from U-234 was rushed to Oak Ridge, processed, and used in the very bomb dropped on Hiroshima. If true, the American success was fueled by Nazi materials. After the war had ended, the race changed from killing Nazis to capturing them. This was Operation Paperclip. Over 1,600 German doctors, engineers, and technicians were secretly brought to the United States. Most people know Wernher von Braun, the man who built the V-2 rocket and eventually put America on the moon. But Paperclip wasn't just about rockets. It included nuclear physicists, chemical weapon specialists, and biological researchers. But why the secrecy? Because many of these men had dark pasts. The US government decided that their knowledge was too valuable to fall into the Soviet hands. We took their research on jet engines, guided missiles, and potentially advanced nuclear theory to jumpstart our own Cold War tech. So, did they have it? If Ginzer and Romersa saw a test, why did not Hitler use it? The most likely theory is that Germans had tactical nuclear devices, small-scale dirty bombs or rudimentary fission triggers. But the Germans lacked the massive industrial capacity that the US had to make city-leveling weapons. The official story is that the Germans were years away. However, the U-234 cargo and the paperclip recruitment suggest a different reality. The Germans had the pieces of the puzzle. It's just that they ran out of time to put it together. Let's be clear, Germany absolutely had the science. Before the war, the German physicists were world leaders in nuclear physics. They discovered nuclear fission before anyone else. Jewish scientists were expelled, but they had already laid the groundwork. The Nazi program explored uranium enrichment, heavy water reactors, notably in Norway, and experimental explosive devices. What they may not have had was enough fissile material for a full-scale atomic bomb. Some historians believe that Germany did not build a Hiroshima-level bomb, but something smaller, a radiological weapon or an early proto-nuclear device, what we would today call as the dirty bomb. Enough to create massive explosions, cause radiation sickness, terrify witnesses, leave behind no easy proof. Enough to test, enough to scare, enough to make the Allies panic. Why did the war end so fast? In 1945, Germany surrendered suddenly. Allied forces rushed to seize research facilities. Entire labs were dismantled overnight. German nuclear documents were confiscated, not released. Then, months later, the US detonated atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Was this coincidence or confirmation? No confirmed photos exist. No test site remains untouched. Many people died in silence, and most importantly, many documents still remain classified. Historians argue that Germany was close, but not close enough, and intelligence agencies may have acted as if Germany got there first. So here's the real question. If Nazi Germany did test the earliest nuclear weapon, would the world ever be allowed to know? Or would it remain buried like so many truths under the rubble of war? If the story made you pause, question, or rethink history, please do share it, because the most dangerous secrets are the ones we stop asking about.
Click that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.